Well, the day has finally arrived. This working temporary unit is going. It's been a good system, but it was always a temporary thing to run the house. My older heat pump I didn't quite like. So, what am I fitting? I'm sorry if there's a bit of wind coming across the mic. What am I fitting? Well, here it is. People are going to say that looks just like a Midea, but it isn't. It is a Midea Clivet, but it's a very special one because it is one of the new R290 versions. So this I'm going to change over today, hopefully, if the weather keeps up. It's a bit messy, so there's a few things I need to sort out. I need to move that. I need to get my isolator out the way because it's R290 and there is exclusion zones that you can't have electrics in or open drains. That little filter ball valve, which is really tiny, is going. Those lever valves are going. Yes, I know the lagging's not the right lagging. There's a purpose for that. I actually put that on there because I wanted to do some training here and I wanted to show how those laggings, or the different types of lagging, was going to break down. We've got loads of spare wire, cables that I installed years ago. These are old Nibi hoses. They're going to go. Yes, I've got to move the water hose. So this is the ball filter I'm now going to be installing. This is one of our ball filters that we sell at Ultimate. It actually has a little magnet in there as well, so that's going to go in. We've got some Condensate Pro hoses and got some intervalves, they're going on as well. So as you can see, things were a bit wet today, but I'm going to get on with it because I need to get this back online. So I've just exposed the heat pumps now out of the way. It's there, both of them. So I'm going to pull this lagging off. It's actually not that bad condition, and it is crumbling now. I mean, you're going deep. It can. I mean, this is about 3 years, nearly 4 years old now. The other thing I'm going to do, which I bloody forgot to get, was I want to get bigger Euro clips. Dave, bless him, at Condensate Pro gave me a load, and I gave them away to somebody else that I was working for at the time. So I'm going to do this in Condensate Pro, and then what you do is you actually put the clip around the lagging itself, but I haven't got those at the moment, so that's just going to have to stay as it is. I'm going to be taking this valve out. I'm going to be taking that valve out. Okay, so this is the heavy end of a heat pump because that's where the compressor base is. I need this spinning around, so I am going to try and spin it around on my dolly. These dollies are what they use in for supermarkets. Is what they have in the back of the lorries when they're delivering goods and cages and stuff. You can buy them quite cheaply on eBay or whatever. Once you get the heat pump on the dolly and you've got a flat surface, it's yeah, they're really quite useful. The problem is when you've got things like gravel. So I now need to do, I'm going to let it fall off the edge of my brickwork concrete pad there. I'm going to put it down on these bits of timber that I've put there. You might not be able to see that in the shot. Let me make some adjustment. There you go. So then hopefully I can get the heat pump into a position where I can put the feet and then transfer it from the pallet that it's sitting on onto the feet, which will roughly be there or thereabouts. It's extremely heavy. This heat pump actually weighs, where does it say? Oh, it doesn't, I can't see it. But trust me, they do weigh a lot. It's supposed to be about 140 k's. No, I can't see it. So obviously I've got the lighter end, so I've still got the heavy end on the dolly, so I'm going to try and pull it. I don't like asking for help, I'm terrible for it. So now I've got it on there. Hopefully it should slide along on those beams until it comes off the dolly. I could try giving it a push actually. Hopefully it won't hit the camera. Right, so that's the dolly now out the way. So it's not quite there. The problem with gravel is everything digs into gravel. So that's where I'm at the moment. So I'm going to pause it there and get the feet set up. So a lot of people say you need a solid base. I've been doing heat pumps for 15-20 years. You don't need a solid base. This gravel is a solid base. It's not going to move. Once you've got it tucked in, tucked under, you jiggle it around, the gravel's never going to move it unless you purposely move the gravel, and then the heat pump's never going to move. So I've always done heat pumps on gravel, apart from Clivet R290, which is a totally different heat pump altogether. And the other advantage of gravel is I've got a natural soak away. I don't have to do a hole to Australia to build a soak away, because these produce about 6 litres an hour in the winter on a defrost cycle. So I'm going to try and get it a bit nearer to where I want it. It's definitely going to be bigger than my old one. So we're sort of getting to the position where the feet, the lugs of the heat pump itself, are sort of starting to get to where I want them to be. I'm hoping I don't have to move the herb garden, but there's actually 3 feet on this this unit, so I need to rob one from the Samsung, unfortunately, until I can get the replacement that's exactly the same. So now very quickly I'm going to undo the bolts to the unit pallet. These are 13mm bolts, holding it to the pallet. There's also a transit bolt in this particular unit. Well, I believe there is. There's certainly in the R32 version there's a transit bolt in, I believe it's the size is 8, 4.1, 6.1s and upwards. You need to remove the transit bolt. If you buy the equipment from Ultimate Renewables, you have an installer guide that tells you all about those sort of things. I put those together. They're in a constant state of flux. The idea is we help out the installer to make their installation as easy as possible and to give them the answers to those not dumb questions, but I think some engineers are embarrassed to ask about, you know, a valve, or where do I put this valve, where do I put that valve, especially when they've never done a heat pump before. So you know, if you do have that situation, please contact us. I'm happy to answer any question. You may think it is done, but it isn't. That's how we learn. You know, I've made these mistakes myself in the past. We're all improving every year, even me. It's a learning day every day. Really, this should be a two-handed, three-handed job. So why am I changing my heat pump? Well, it's because, just actually make sure I'm still recording. Yeah, just because I've been given the opportunity to basically put this unit around the test track for Clivet. I know quite a few people in the industry. I wasn't asking for it. Certain people approach me. They know I'm a big nerd when it comes to getting data and sensor information and trying to tap into the Modbus and trying to squeeze the most out of any heat pump that we work with. And I have done that with the Samsung, but I've been given the opportunity to test this out, give it a few laps around the racetrack, because it is such a new product. Okay, let's see how well this goes. Not quite at the tipping point at the moment. Okay, so now we're getting to the point where I'm nearly on the feet. Getting myself stuck in the process. Okay, so that ends off. Right, now get rid of the pallet. To be fair to Clivet, it is quite a decent pallet. You get all manner of heat pumps turning up on various pallets. I know. It's like, why are you talking about pallets? Well, they can vary so much in their quality. So now what I'm going to try and do is get the feet sort of centralised and start bolting them in. That's going to take me a little while. Okay, sorry about that. The camera battery died. I'll put it on charge for a little while. I've got the unit on its legs or feet. Some people may want to know what size this heat pump is. It is actually a 6.1. They call it a 6.1, which is about 12 kilowatts. So this is our valve that we sell at Ultimate Renewable. It's a combined ball valve and filter with the magnet. I think I showed you earlier. And I am going to wind this on the back of the unit. And it's not very clear which is in and out, strangely enough. So I might have to go to the instructions and just come back to you, but it's normally flow and return, but let's see. I've put some pipework in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the hoses and the valves connected up so I can get a rough idea of where I need to cut my pipe. Then I'm going to get a car jack out, get the unit into position, car jack it up so I can level it with the gravel. Yes, it looks like I was correct. So this is my outward bound, or my flow coming into my system, and this is my return. So I'm actually going to use PTFE. A lot of people use a liquid blue or another manufacturer, which is basically a jointing glue that goes off, and when it does go off, it is bloody hard to get it apart again if you ever need to. So I'm going to put about 12 turns on this. If anybody's counting, I've lost count. So I'll put some bit of PTFE based jointing paste. Just give it a little smear like that. And then there's an arrow on the side of the valve, and I'm going to wind that on. Now I'm going to get a spanner on it. These are the Barcode 12s, I believe. Wide jaw. I'm not going to put an antifreeze valve on. I don't actually believe we need them in most of the UK, but that might be a conflict of interest. It's getting quite tight now. So I'm going to get it about there, maybe slightly over, and then I can shut that valve. Might need a little bit more because I've got a valve beside it going next to it. Now on the Clivets, the shoulder of the fittings are not very flat there for if you're putting a union valve on. Let me show you. It's not a problem of Clivet, it's just nature of things. So that's a union valve. I don't know if you can see that. It's a union valve. So what you would do is you would put a washer in, and then the other side of the surface where it mounts would also be quite flat. The shoulder would be quite flat, so you basically wedge it, squeeze it together. These intervalves are designed, and Dave Smith, Condensate Pro or Primary Pro, he makes little jackets for these off the shelf. We sell those as well. I'm trying not to be a salesman, but I do work for a company that sells heat pumps. So I've exchanged the rubber washer that come with the valve for a fibre one, and I'm hoping that's going to be a better fit. The problem with the rubber washer is as you squeeze it and pinch it up, it sort of comes out of place. You don't have to do these really hard. I haven't put any jointing paste on there, and again I have now got my isolators for my unit. So this is coming out, that's going back in, so the gauze filter will trap any debris, any rust particles, hopefully not, but any installation junk that's in the system will be collected there. Don't always have to have a Magna filter, but if you are working on older retrofit systems, then it's definitely a good thing to have as well. There's no harm in having one. Right, I'm gonna get the hoses set up. Oh, this is a bit unfortunate. I forgot to get myself a 1.25 to 2 inch union bush, so I've been hunting around the garage to try and find something. The only thing I could find was an 1.25 1.25. So now I've got valve and valve, which means this is sticking out way too far than I want, compared to this one. So what always happens to a plumber on a Saturday afternoon, you're like 95% there on a job, and you need a fitting. So I'm going to have to do something like this for now. I might have to take that handle off and do something like this. So that goes onto the pipe, and the idea was that this would roughly be in line with that one as well. I might have to take the handle off on that, and yeah, the idea is you have about 250-300 mil onto the back of the unit. As you can see, I'm not going to get any closer than this anyway, so I'm going to take the handles off now. Turn the valves on, take the handles off for the moment until I can come back with a better plan, or I get that bush properly set up. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So that's now open. I'm going to take this one off. So obviously I need to get this back up and running today because it's my own house. So I've got those aside. That valve is fully open. That valve's fully open. I've got some isolation there. And now when I put this back on, which is my flow, which is my top pipe. I'm not sure you can see in the camera shot, but it's the top pipe. So these are inter hoses with Primary Pro lagging already onto them. And then while I've got you there, I do have one of Dave's covers that go around here, so I'm just going to put that aside for a minute. So as you can see, that's Primary Pro's cover, just for designed for the intervalve. Obviously you use your bond and seal at the bottom, stick it all together. Sometimes you have to put a couple of zip ties around it until the bond and seal holds. But yeah, I'm not going to use that at the moment. That's interesting. I never knew that it didn't actually slot open. Ah. So I'm just going to make sure that is fully open before I tighten that down. I think it is. Yeah, I think that's open. That'll be shut. So yeah, I need to. There we go. So now I'm going to try and start getting the unit into its final position and make the final connections. Okay, so as you can see, I've got it into place. Yes, I know it's out of level, and if it was on a flat base, as I discussed earlier, it would be easier to set up, but I don't want to put a flat base down. Even though I've got some nice slate over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start lifting it up with a car jack. Got a couple of bits of timber here that I can use. So I'm going to lift up the heavy end first, the compressor end. Use a bit of timber underneath the edge so don't damage it. I have done this before, so on other heat pumps. Hopefully you can still see me in the shot. Let's try and get at least something under there to otherwise I shall be getting told off by people. That's the beauty of gravel. You can move it around and manipulate it and that sort of thing. So yeah, I just need something a little bit thinner to get me going in the first place. Now here we go. Come on. So yeah, it's not quite what I want. It's nearly there. Try that. On the lighter units, I would just lift it up and kick the gravel around. So as you can see, I'm now lifting it up. Oh, and there it goes. That's really useful. Try that again. Ah, that's better. I'll get that much better on that now. So where I want it, get to the position I want it. Start moving the gravel around. Tuck it under these feet. Like so. Doesn't take that long to sort it out, really. Right, let's put it down. Let's see how we're doing for level. Right, great. So now we're level, pretty much. I've actually got to jig this end around, but you can rock it back and forth. A little bit high in the front. Right, now we're dead level. We're dead level. So yeah, you can see we're level there and we're level there, and the unit is not going to go anywhere, and I can just move the gravel around at the base to tidy it up. I do need to change that leg. That one looks like I've got it the wrong way around because it's got holes in the middle. So, and that's where we're at the back. As you can see down there, got that. I could have got. Right, so very quickly the battery's dying again. The unit is now connected back in place with the water. I haven't moved the isolator yet because I just want to get it on today. I can still get to my outside tap. I'm going to put the camera back on charge and I'm going to start the. So my battery keeps dying, unfortunately. God, flipping it. Some of these things are so tight. So I've not opened up this at all yet, this unit. When you're doing heat pump services and stuff, it's always good to have one of these, especially when you're working on gravel. So I'm going to try and, well, I've got to wire it in. I've still got some work to do inside, which I'm hoping to show you as well, a bit of that. I'm just taking the edge off of some of these screws. I'll tell you, some robot must have its torque settings set really high on some of these. Got to be careful with R290. A little bit. Can't have, you know, electrical appliances that are likely to spark nearby. You can't have open drains because if the refrigerant actually leaks, it can go into an open drain. So, which is, to be honest, a lot of nonsense when, to me it's a lot of nonsense when you can driving up and down the motorway in a motorhome with 100 litres of propane in a tank underneath the caravan or the motorhome. I would say that's far more dangerous than just a little old heat pump being outside. Someone makes the rules, and someone most probably gets paid a lot of money for it. But hey, I'm no expert, am I? Come on. So these I think are about 6mm. I do have a Wearer hex screwdriver, but it's an 8mm one. I keep saying I'm going to get myself a few more, but I haven't done so yet. I'm hoping that's just going to drop and I don't need to take the top off. That's tight, I know that. So I do need to lift the top a little. That's okay. The quality of the Clivet's I actually think is really good. Okay, wow, slightly different than what I'm normally expecting. So because this is obviously a flammable refrigerant, they've encased the electrics, or most of the electrics, into a separate case, you know, a sealed case. So if any spark was happening or something was going on in there, it wouldn't then spark. I mean, blimey, you've got to have a refrigerant leak, which is only not much at all. There's hardly any refrigerant in there, let alone it being propane. There's hardly refrigerant in there, and you've got to have something sparking all the time at the same time. Yeah, I suppose 1,000,000 to 1 it could happen, but no, I don't think it does. So it clearly states here that you need to remove the stability bracket or the transit bracket, like the sort of thing you would get in a brand new fridge. So that does look like 8mm. And it is. So I'm gonna, it just lets, the compressors are generally on like rubber pads. And obviously if it's coming from far away land, it just keeps it in place if it gets bumped around on that journey. So now it's finally in its place, I can remove it. If you don't remove it, it could actually be more noisier, it could actually put strain on certain components. Generally it ends up just being noisy. Where's that looking? Should I move it left, right, something? Don't think I should need to do any more than that, but let's just have a quick look. Take the, pulled the jacket off already. Velcro. It's well in there. Oh, flipping heck. I don't want that to come out in a hurry. we have a heater as well round. Well, I'm having a bit of a nightmare with the old camera and the cards, and I'm having more trouble with that than I am with the heat pump. So I don't know what I got up to, but I've just removed the stability bracket that came with the heat pump. So that's just a transit bracket that allows the heat pump to move around. I mean, it doesn't vibrate much, but and if I haven't got this on camera, this is encased because it is a propane-based gas. So I'm going to open this up now because I need to start wiring it in. Otherwise, we're going to be cold. I won't have enough hot water tonight unless I put it on the immersion, and I don't really want to do that. I've still got plenty of work to do inside yet. So most compressors are actually three phase. So the unit, most heat pumps are converted from single phase to a three phase through an inverter, because it's a motor. Basically, it is a motor. So three phase motors can be ramped up, ramped down quite nicely. There we go. That's nicely sealed. Aha! Now that sort of stuff I do recognise. This is just the same as another Clivet. So we've got some nice rubber connections there. I don't know if that space is just for additionals or it means that the electrics are not near the outlets, so there's less chance of getting a spark. So we've got power here, and then you've got your third-party thermostats. Your controller is this side. Got lots of things going on here. You've got smart grids, solar, I would think. There's also a connection for the cylinder sensor that I need to put in. When the unit's running, we'll come up with the current flow temperature there. We've got a USB port, that might be for flashing, reflashing software and that sort of thing. I haven't done that before yet. So I'm going to try and feed some cables in at the back. I can see a pump in there, the plate heat exchanger. I believe this unit comes with a small pressure vessel, but I would always put an additional one on the system anyway. It certainly comes with a PRV, but again, you could still put one on, part of your pressurization kit on your heating system anyway. Right, let's get some cables in. So I don't have enough cable, so I'm just trying to pull this 10mm out that I had originally, 6mm. Actually, it could be 6mm. Definitely not 10. Sorry. And I've got some 4mm that I'm going to put in its place. This is another reason why you don't put an isolator behind the back of the unit. You can't get to it easily. I'm hoping all my other cables are long enough. I need to get some more Copex. So I'm just going to go and grab a bit of that now. Let's make this a bit longer. So I've got some Copex. I'm flipping loads of this lying around. I bought 60 metres once and just never ever use that much because I don't do any installations that much anymore. I hope this is 20mm and I can use the same glands. Yes, it looks like I can. So just need to get that off. Hopefully it will come off. So you can see, trying to get this end off of this Copex. I was pleased to see that the inside of my isolation box out here was dry, so that's a good sign. One of the common breakdowns on a heat pump is, or could be, water gets in the isolation box because the seal's not that great. So I'm going to give me plenty of cable on this. So when I actually do get around to moving the isolator, I've got plenty there. I'm going to put the cable through now, or actually I'm going to try and offer it up. So I've always got enough. What I really would like is it to come right into the unit, which is most probably in the instructions anyway. So I'm going to cut loads off. That's another few metres down than I had before. So now I'm just going to feed my 4mm through it already, because believe me, that can make life so much easier sometimes. I'm trying to put the Copex, or the conduit liner in, and then trying to feed the cable through it. It can be a bit tricky sometimes. So I'm doing that now. Sorry, you're not really seeing much, are you? I'm trying to put the cable through. One of those, you do a bit, you move it around, you do a bit, you move it around, and eventually it comes out the end. Sometimes it's good to put the end under something quite heavy and then pull it straight, so you're working with a straight bit of pipe, which I'm actually getting to that point now where I'm not struggling to feed it through. Come on. You can use other cables, of course, that are actually rated for outside conditions. If anybody does ask, I actually used to be Part P registered, I'm not anymore. See, this is my own property. I'm basically connecting an appliance. I haven't installed a new circuit, which is part of the regs. You have to be bona fide qualified to install a new circuit. But I'm tapping, basically coming off the end of that circuit. And effectively, I'm wiring a plug that goes in the wall. So, plus I know what I'm doing anyway. So I finally got that cable through. of extra. So I'm giving myself actually loads, way more than almost what we actually need, but hey ho. Let's get it through the back. The Clivet gives you nice entry points already. You don't have to do any knockouts or anything like that, like you do on some other units. Okay, so I'm going to leave it a little bit out of the back. And as I said, I've got enough now to come through those rubber glands. Yeah, look at that, beautiful. So I can tuck a little bit in there, doesn't matter. Maybe take a little bit more off. So I should do that now. Careful not doing this, not to actually cut into the cable. Good thing. So I'm going to gland the cable up here. So this is 4mm. It's normally 4 and 6 most people use on heat pumps, unless you're doing 3-phase. The fuse rating is generally like 25 or 32. But always check the installation instructions of that particular manufacturer. Right. Here's my wire cutters. Ah. So seeing I actually started this at about 11:30 today, I don't think I'm doing too bad. It's about 3 o'clock now in the afternoon. As I said, the water's done. I just need to take out a pump inside the house. I used to, because this has a built-in pump, most of the heat pumps, the monoblock heat pumps now, come with built-in pumps. So you still need to work out your index circuit. Got my earth sleeving. Still need to work out your index circuit, and sometimes you may need to upgrade pipe or put an additional pump in. And try not to use any hydraulic separation. So I don't use glands. Well, not glands, I mean, what are they called? Crimps. Some people do, some people don't. I don't actually think it's the law. I think it's good practice to use crimps, but I don't. I've never had a problem in 30 years, so. Okay. Right. Pause it there. Do the isolator. Right, now I'm trying to get the cables through, which again might be unfortunately a tad short. Let's see, I can put them through a little bit more. Might have to extend them, but I can put a box down there. So with the new Clivet, I believe, reading through the instructions, the controller is only 2 wire, whereas the old Clivet is 5 wire to the controller. So I always like to run a few cables extra anyway, if I was doing an install, because if you want to put in like a third-party monitoring system, or you want to run a sensor to the outside, for example, you're running Home Assistant like I am, then you have the cables to do that, because you've already put them in place. So, talking about 2-core controller cable, I've got a shielded 2-core here, and I'm going to check the manual, but it should also be on here. So, I don't know if you can see that. So it shows that the controller looks like it's going into number 3, number 4, which is over here. So I'm going to wire those in now. The isolator's now been wired up, so it is technically, as soon as I turn that isolator, this unit will become live. So number 3 is up here. I'm hoping to tap into the Modbus of this unit. Flipping loads of potential sensors that can be picked up, and I'm not going to get into the stage of trying to manipulate the system yet. I just want to be able to grab the data of the system. I'm going to use the Clivet control and the mobile app that comes with the system. Obviously you need to download it on your phone, and then, as I said, with Home Assistant, I just want to monitor everything. I've already got a heat meter, so I can see exactly what the flow return temperatures and the potential heat output compared to the energy input. So I'm just going through the instructions for the 3-way valve. It's not actually that clear, which in the booklet. So I'm just reverting back to some information I've been putting together at Ultimate Renewable. I mean, it doesn't actually say like a hot water 3-way valve. It just says SV2, SV3. So just checking my technical folder. So obviously I've just done the power and the communication to the controller at the moment. To be honest, there isn't. I'm hoping this 5-core and this one's going to actually be spare. So as I said, I can have. I've got to do the cylinder sensor. So So yeah, the 3-port valve shows, where's it gone? It's really annoying when it does that. Shows it in SV1. Number 5 is 16. So 5 is actually what energises the 3-port over. So in a heat pump, the 3-port is always open to the heating side, and then it gets energised to switch over to do hot water. With a boiler, it's the other way around. So I'm not actually gonna, yeah, we'll cut that. So the neutral, I'm gonna put in a neutral. Which, so SV1. 3 and 17. According to that. Oh, sorry about that. 3. So 3 is an on. Check my phone again, because 5 and 17. Okay. 17 they call it a C1, but I believe it's a neutral, which is really helpful. But I think this board is the same, so actually no, number 3 on this terminal is a third-party input from a Thermostat or Hive or something, which we don't want to be using anyway. That's 17 and 4. Neutral, neutral. So that's the 3-port valve done. I am looking for now a cable that I could potentially use for the cylinder thermostat, but I could actually get the system running without that first. So I might call it quits there for the moment and start doing some of the works that I need to do inside. So I will see you in a moment. I'm just pulling this off. This is the old Samsung controller, so just pulling that out. I used to have a larger tablet here for Home Assistant, but that failed, so I've just got this old Nexus 7 I had kicking around. Got jammed up. So that could be used cable now for somebody else, whoever buys the Samsung. So this is the new Clivet controller back plate. So I'm going to mount it in here because it's next to my Home Assistant, so I can see what's going on. As I said, I'm hoping to pick up the data from Modbus. so that will come into play with Home Assistant. I've put in a 5-core because the Modbus is 3 cores out and the actual heat pump to the controller is 2 cores in. As you can see, it's actually a new controller as well with the unit, which is quite exciting. Okay, I'm about to switch the unit on for the very first time. Wow, nice controller. What can we do? Turn zone number 1 on. Let's see what it does with that. So it's 13 degrees outside, I think. Most probably go into a flow error because the system is only just running up, so I've just had to drain down the system anyway. Actually don't have a cylinder sensor connected. Oh. Let's go and see if we've got anything happening outside. I can hear the pump running, but I suspect it's got a load of air in it. Just trying to feel around the back. Okay, found a little air release. That's good. I've definitely got water movement now. Make sure all the valves are open. Okay, I'm about to switch the unit on for the very first time. Wow, nice controller. What can we do? Turn zone number 1 on. Let's see what it does with that. So it's 13 degrees outside, I think. most probably go into a flow error because the system is only just running up, so I've just had to drain down the system anyway. Actually don't have a cylinder sensor connected. Oh. Let's go and see if we've got anything happening outside. Well, just started to run. The Clivets can take a little bit of time to get going. The fan's on. Compressor's just come in. And I think this is our current temperature out, going out the flow. It's because I've got it on, it's actually coming round, going around the cylinder at the moment, so I'm picking up some heat. It's not increasing that quickly. Pretty quiet so far. Obviously I've got a case to put all back on there. She's alive. I would have had this done earlier if it wasn't for the bloody camera and cards and microphones and everything else. I like to consider myself a specialist when it comes to heat pumps, but certainly not when it comes to videos. It seems to be running. I had to go around and bleed some radiators. I've got Home Assistant set up and running again. Good stats already. Look at this. I mean, it's running a cop of 5. Outside temperature is 13 degrees and the flow temperature is 27. The input power is 1400 watts and it's generating 7200 watts. My target temperature is 47. I haven't done anything with this at the moment, and the actual flow temperature is 28, and it says it's 12 degrees outside. Hopefully you can see all this. I'm going to have to wrap it up soon because it's really dark outside and I need to put the casing on. Hope that's good for you. Today it's been a long day for me, trying to sort all this out and doing the videos as well. So I hope you enjoy it, and I will pick this up again tomorrow.